Howdy, another video here. So I got Wardloop to work without any ward on. So as you can see there, I have no ward, and we're looping VD balls and a purifying flame. So this finally works. I'm gonna turn this Wardloop off because this is gonna drive me nuts. But I'm gonna explain everything first, and then I'm gonna go over like how um, yeah, I'll do the map showcase at the end. I'm going to explain how the build works, though. So, a few things to consider. A lot of people wanted to do recoup with this, with the 9 lives from the Witch Ascendancy, the Flesh and Flame only Ascendancy passive thing. The only problem with that is that without Ward, the recoup effectively needs to be over 100% for it to work. So I made some tanky life regeneration rate abusing Inquisitor builds in the past, and I wanted to try that again with the new charms. So if you see my charms, I have life regeneration rate, and then I'm missing one here. You have one more in there. It doesn't really do a ton, but ideally you'd have 3. And then the ground increased effect is just good for Inquisitor. So the way the build works is you basically abuse regeneration rate to get, I'm running 4.3k life regeneration and 3.7k ES regeneration. So the loop works, and if you don't know word loop, there's a bunch of videos on it. Go look it up. But this is basically just hitting the life and ES, and it regens so fast that it doesn't really matter. So the way you figure out how much damage you're taking is, I don't have any Forbidden Rite set up, just the loop and the skeletons. So 420 fizz damage. Careful, here comes a flashbang warning. There's this website called Path of Damage. It's going to be bright. Here it comes. Where basically you type in your armor. So this is 477. And so 477. I have 5 endurance charges. And then the hit damage is 420, and that's per skeleton. So I'm taking 293 damage per skeleton. So if you do that times 2, get the calculator out. So if you do 293? Yeah, 293. Careful. All right. So if you do 293 times 2, and you're getting about 5 casts per second with the cooldown, you have to get a little bit of cooldown to hit the break point. I think it's like 8%. Gets you into the second tier of cooldown for casting damage taken. Gets about 4.25 times per second. We'll just do 5, so that way make sure we have enough regen. You're taking 586 damage per skeleton spawn, because it's only spawning 2, because we have a level 1 cast damage taken, level 1 summon skellies. And then times that by 5 casts per second. So we're degenning about 2,900 life per second. The ES actually really helps with mitigating that, because every time you get hit, the ES will go basically down to, you see, go to like 200 right there, and then it goes immediately back up to full, because we're regenning about 4,000 or 3,000 ES as well. So the ES doesn't really do much in the way of blocking hits, but if you can see when it's looping fast, put this back in, it goes down and up, and like that, it regens so fast that it can outperform the damage you're taking from that. So this brings up a whole lot of other questions. One, how do you get damage? So you have a level 1 casting damage taken. The second line of the dark blue on the bottom there, supported skills deal 65% less damage. This kind of gimps the build, because one, we have to run a low level volatile dead, which only gives us 26 to 38 flat base fire damage, which is not a lot. So not only do you have to make up for the base flat fire damage, you also have a massive 65% less multiplier on any skill that you want to do damage with this build. So the solution that I found was to find this disgusting Moroho Yerki and then use Battle Mage through Inquisitor, which adds that. I think it's like, what is that, like 1,000, 1,100 flat damage to the spell itself. So that gets rid of the flat problem. That actually ends up being like 1,700 after it's 170% damage effectiveness from VD. So it ends up being like 1,700 flat damage, which is fine. It's more than VD has on his base skill. Base skill level 21 is like 1,200, I think, roughly base damage. And then the rest of the gear, this is just regen, and then life regeneration and regen on the gloves. Life regeneration and regen here, life regeneration and regen here. And the purpose of going this ward loop was to make it a little bit more defensive. So the easiest way to... with armor, you can't really have a lot of armor on this build, because you won't get the loop. You won't take enough damage from the summon skeletons dying to really take enough damage to proc the next set of cast and damage taken loops. but endurance charges are a percent. So at 5, we're getting 20% physical reduction, 4% per endurance charge, which for a small hit like this doesn't really matter. But for a big hit, 20% is a good chunk of mitigation. So you get some phys mitigation there. And then we're not relying on Forbidden Right for damage. So you could have more Chaos Res if you wanted to. I just didn't feel like getting it. But so you could theoretically be Chaos Res capped and have 5 or you could technically run 6 endurance charges with the math that I did. But you have to get a little bit of armor if you want to run the life regeneration gear, because the only base type that it can spawn on has armor on it. So you kind of end up having to get a little bit. I bought the lowest armor base that I possibly could. Like these are like level like this is like Act 2 boots, Act 1 boots. This is like low level gear, like low required level gear. The item level is still 85, so you can craft on it. And then this is just for some damage, and then we convert it all to fire with Avatar Fire. And then I got some AoE for the explode, because the build itself doesn't really do a lot of damage. I think I have it up, like in POB, it's only level 86 right now, but like with all the gear and everything up, I have it up to like 2 million DPS between Purifying Flame and VD, under pretty good conditions. So like 2 million is kind of the peak with this setup I have here, assuming some like disgusting gear. But that's like, I mean, this is still pretty good gear. So this is kind of the top end of it. I wanted to show this video, just get this out, so that way people can play with this if they wanted to do. I've been trying to do this Wardlooper for like the last couple of leagues I've played, so finally got it to function mechanically. Not great damage-wise, still kind of working at that kink out. But yeah, I'll show a map clear real quick, and I'll do a T16 this time, because last time somebody clowned me for running a tier 1 map for a showcase. So this is a T16 burial chambers, and we'll run a breach on it for funsies. And you really pretty much rely on the explodey chest for clear, to be honest. So you pop the loop, and then you have enough extra regen to do RF with it and a bunch of other degens. So you can see how the build actually plays pretty good. It's meant to be just kind of a comfy mapper. I think VD is my favorite skill in the entire game. I love it. And I will do anything to play VD, even making a stupid build like this. Ooh, sorry, that's kind of loud. Sound. Oop, died. Nice. Good showcase. All right. And the aspect of the spider isn't necessary. It's just a little bit of extra damage. But the other comfy thing on this is with Purifying Flame. Even if you're not running it for damage, if you want to play this and run other skills. Oh, I'm frozen. And I died again. All right. Good showcase. I'm still working out the kinks on it, but I just wanted to show the mechanics of it. It actually is good, I promise. Just don't get frozen. I need to get the Brine King thing. There's just a lot of stuff. I don't have Brine King taken for stuns, but there's just a lot of stuff that like needs to be worked out on it still. I don't feel like pushing it any further. I have other stuff I want to do with this setup. So if you end up playing it and want to push it, obviously get the Brine King frozen, get the anti-stun. You can really get some more damage out of this if you spend some more money on it. And you know, it's level 86. I didn't feel like pushing it. We'll run the whole map. I just wanted to show that it clears pretty okay. It can kill yellow mobs. League mechanic, it can do it with the league mechanic. It is a little bit sketchy though. Like if you get a tough mob that has like fire resist on it, it can take a while to kill. The positive side is that with the playstyle, you can just kind of run away forever. Like if this gets scary over here, you just run over here and hide and completely avoid it, and your VD balls will run over there and get it automatically, and you can always stay moving too, so you don't get targeted by stuff. And then these guys, you just have to kind of avoid them. Ooh, fortunate. These guys, you kind of have to just avoid them with a little Tempora bubble. So that's a quick map showcase. That's the build. Wardloop does work. And as you can see, I'm barely even degenning. And I think I out-regen. I forget the math on it, but I think I'm still regenning like an extra 2,500 life per second over. So you could even get less regen than this and still be even. You just would have to find some other kind of form of recovery. So that is the build. Thanks. And if you play it and have questions, let me know. There's some weird breakpoints in this that I've done the math for, so I'm happy to answer and help answer those however I can. Thanks. Bye.